The impacts of climate change are already evident. The world is experiencing record-breaking high temperatures, and the frequency and intensity of precipitation is changing as well. In many places, snowfall has been decreasing while rainfall has been increasing. A rise in average temperature can have a variety of effects on the natural world, from the Arctic to the depths of the oceans. Many parts of the world are seeing more frequent droughts, while some regions have seen prolonged periods without rain. The overall trend is towards more variable rainfall patterns rather than more constant precipitation. As a result, this affects how ecosystems operate and what they're capable of producing. The effects of climate change mean that many modern technologies cannot be used as effectively as before. Buildings must be constructed to withstand heavier winds and increased snowfall, machinery must be able to operate efficiently in extreme temperatures, roads must be built with less chance of them collapsing in heavy rains, air conditioning and heating systems need to run more efficiently, and so on. Drought and water scarcity. Droughts are becoming more common, and water scarcity is a major issue. The arid conditions in the American West have led to a water crisis where farmers have to use expensive methods such as importing water from other regions. In some places, the lack of natural vegetation has made it difficult for organisms to survive. Many parts of the world are also seeing changes in precipitation patterns that result in less consistent rainfall. This can lead to increased drought and water shortages for populations that depend on rainwater for their livelihoods. Extreme weather. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and intense. This is due to climate change, which is a direct result of greenhouse gas emissions. Some examples of extreme weather events include polar vortexes, dust storms, wildfires, severe flooding, hurricane winds, desertification and loss of snow. In the United States, the Southwest is seeing a decline in precipitation and an accompanying increase in temperatures. This combination of environmental changes has led to the desertification of Nevada and Arizona. The climate change is also causing a decline in snowpack, which is important for water resources. The effects of climate change are already being seen on humans, as well as other animals and plants. There's a risk that humans could be outcompeted by other species if they cannot adapt quickly enough to rising temperatures. Sea level rise and coastal zone erosion. The effects of climate change include more extreme weather events, along with rising sea levels. Sea level rise will produce more coastal zone degradation and erosion as a result of the increasing water levels. This includes the inundation of large areas of land and the creation of new islands, which is called island arc formation. Additionally, while many species are able to adapt to their changing environments, some can't, especially those that live in very specific environmental niches. For example, polar bears depend on ice for living and hunting. If sea ice becomes scarce, they may be unable to maintain their normal diets or travel from place to place without difficulty. Cloud cover and storms. An increase in cloud and storm cover is likely to lead to more precipitation, as cloud cover and storms can decrease the amount of sunlight that reaches Earth. This could change how ecosystems operate and what they produce. The effects of climate change will also affect the ability of people to use technology as efficiently, since modern technologies such as propellers, wind turbines, and solar panels need sunlight for energy. Overexposure to UV rays. The effects of climate change mean that many modern technologies cannot be used as effectively as before. Buildings must be constructed to withstand heavier winds and increased snowfall, machinery must be able to operate efficiently in extreme temperatures, roads must be built with less chance of them collapsing in heavy rains, air conditioning and heating systems need to run more efficiently, and so on. One of the most important effects of climate change is how it affects the ozone layer, which protects life from harmful radiation. This leads to more UV rays being able to reach the Earth's surface, which can cause damage to living beings. This overexposure can also lead to skin cancer. For example, people who spend a lot of time outside during the summer months often suffer from sunburns or worse. Instability of terrain and landforms. The instability of landforms and terrain will also have an impact on the production of food, water, and energy. The effects are likely to be felt in the form of a greater reliance on renewable resources like solar energy, hydropower, wind power, geothermal energy, and biomass. In addition, countries that depend on imports could see their buying power impacted as they attempt to import products from more unstable regions. Climate change will place additional demands on natural ecosystems as well. These effects include both rising sea levels that increase pressure for coastal development, including the expansion of cities like New York City, and changes in weather patterns that influence agriculture. Final words. Climate change will have its effects on society, the economy, and natural ecosystems. For businesses, it's important to realize how their operations and materials may be affected by climate change. They need to plan accordingly and make investments in infrastructure or machinery that can endure extreme temperatures. The impacts of climate change are already evident, they just haven't reached their full force yet. In the future, we may see more extreme changes in weather patterns. The best way for companies to brace themselves is by investing in sustainable development and taking steps now to protect their organizations from the consequences of climate change as much as possible.